Okay, my name is Luke Haskell. This is my final project submission for CS4620 databases final project. So I'm starting here in VS Code. I want to show you how to build my project. I've already told you that this is a huge project. The repo's private because it's my senior design project mostly. So nonetheless, I'm going to start here. First, to start the backend, you can do npx expo start. Sometimes you have to do -- clear if it's not working, or tunnel if you're on public Wi-Fi. But I am neither, so I'm just going to do that. Package RJ is this. Well, oh, excuse me. I have to CD into the thing. Expo start. That should work. Yeah. And then when you press W so it launches in the web, it's going to pop up by itself here in a second. Yes. Okay. To start the back end, I'm in a Python virtual environment. But you don't have to be, as my teammates proved to me. So, and to start this, you simply just do python3 api.py. That's the name of the file, and that houses the entire backend. This runs locally, of course. We're going to work on finding a source to do this, but that's senior design. That doesn't really concern this project. So both of them should be up and running now. So I'm going to walk you through what the project is and kind of explain what parts I did, because I am in a group for this project, but I did accomplish my own task, my own things that fulfill the requirements for this this project. So my task was in the vendor side of this. I'm not going to explain the app concept because it's not really relevant. And then there's this tiny little login thing. I didn't do this. Just log in. There you go. And then the thing I worked on was events. So I guess I will explain a little bit. So this is basically where a user can input different food events that are free to claim. There's a map and everything. Basically, part of it, I guess I will explain the entire thing because it doesn't really make sense without it. So this is an app called Curfew. It's in our client is Mr. Bryce Houston, and basically it's an app where college students, right now it's college students, can come to the app and there will be a map, and there'll be different restaurants after they close can put out leftover food to be claimed for free. And what you're looking at right now is a rough draft in terms of the senior design scope. In terms of the database thing, this is complete, but basically where a vendor can go in after they close and enter in the food name, description, and a bunch of other things like nutrition facts and all that. But for the purposes of this project and for testing, I didn't want to enter in 10 different things for each item. I was struggling, honestly, to come up with like 10 different food names anyway. So, and then, yeah, the event ID, they're not going to enter that in. That's going to be auto-generated, but without a persistent database, there's no way to really facilitate that easily right now. So this would be sort of what the vendors would be viewing. Like I'm an employee at like Chipotle and we're just closing, so I would type in here. I wouldn't be typing this, but just for testing, I'm going to put that in, and I'd be typing in, we got this leftover burrito description. I don't know, extra meat or something, and I submit it. There's no real feedback that tells you submit it, but and then as you can see here, actually, here's all the outstanding events. It doesn't refresh automatically, so if I just go back into here, should be down here. Yes, I just entered this in. You can see the event ID, you can see when it expires. So it's military time. So I set it to expire in 15 minutes, and that's just so, you know, the food doesn't sit out forever. And if no one picks it up, and it's probably going to be more than 15 minutes in the final product. But anyway, so this is the concept. I've entered all these in through this thing and all that. So that's the submission thing. And I'll show you in a second, but that contacts the backend through a fetch request and posts it through fetch request, and then once it reaches the backend, it inserts it into the database table. So for some extra functionality for my database project, I added this filtration system, sort of like search, but I think filter is a more appropriate name for it. So if I want to search for, what do I got in here? Sandwich. I can do sandwich. By default, you're sorting by food name, but you can of course change that. I'll show that in a second. Hit filter, turns up sandwiches. Now that's of course also doing a fetch request to the backend, and that is doing a select query with the database, which I'll also show in a second. You can also do Oreo, because there's multiple Oreos, I think. Yes, Oreos, and I think I also already had a burrito, so I'll show that. Burrito, 2 burritos, pretty sweet. Okay, you can also search by description, food description, so extra cheese. I think I have one of those in here. See, it comes up right there, extra cheese, and if anything else had extra cheese in it, it would come up too. So that is pretty much the front end, although that's how it looks. I know it's not the prettiest. I'm not an artist by any means, certainly not with CSS, but now I will move on to the back end. Okay, so we discussed in class that it's complicated to submit the code, so I'm going to submit the whole project as well as the project or the files I just worked on. And that would be the 2 files we got here, event or events.js and the api.py. So first I will show the events file. So just maximize that, I guess. Okay, so this events.js is what you're seeing here. This is the page. It's a page type thing. This hosts the page and all the information. Okay, so not super sure what to show here, but I can kind of walk through it. So this loads everything on page load. It gets all these. And then this is just a tricky little function to like push a bunch of HTML into a array. So it all loads on the page. This is the button that creates the event. This is the IP and route that contacts the backend. This is the filtration system. There's a little drop-down menu with all the different things, and then same sort of deal. This is where I used query, or I always forget the name, but it's query, domain query, some custom queries, something like that. I don't know. I forget the exact name, but it's like when you have the question mark, it's kind of, you have variables in it. So I pass in the method of which we are filtering, and then the actual, like, if I search like burrito or taco or something like that, the food or description or whatever I'm searching. So, and then what is this? This is like the clear button, I think. Yeah, clear. Okay, so that's the front end, which isn't probably too exciting, so I didn't want to spend too much time on it. This is the whole back end. It's 240 lines of goodness, so I'll walk you through this part. My teammates also worked on, so I will point out the things I did. I did most of it. It's just like the different queries my teammates did. So I did all of your seeing here. This is like SQL Alchemy setting up and everything. This is how you set up the tables. It's literally just you set up a class, variables, initialization method, and representations, which I think is only for like debugging, or if you want to print it, I guess, but it's not going to look good because it's just a string. And then event is the big one that I'm looking at. As you can see, there is, as I said, tons of different information about it, but I only used 3 of them right now, or more than 3. The description, the food name, the ID, the big ones, and then I store the date and the time of expiry. All that good stuff. Vendor, I did not do this. This commented out code is how you initialize the database initially, and if you want to hard code in an entry or anything like that, that's how you would do it. So here is where Flask comes in. So starting here, this was the event creation. This is what I did. So you can see there's get and post requests. I'll start with the get request actually, because that's on page load. So on page load, immediately it sends the get request. Let me pull this out here, which is this. And it just sets the active events. So once this hits, it contacts this thing with the get method. So it hops down here and it queries the event and vendor thing, vendor table. I know I did not write that, but I am querying it. I think Owen Salyer wrote that. He's not in this class or anything. None of my teammates are, but so this is a type of join. There is a dot join thing, but I couldn't get it to work. As I said in my final report, the documentation on SQL Alchemy is really inconsistent and a little screwy, but I'm seeing where the vendor ID when the vendor IDs match, and I'm querying only the events that are associated with the vendor ID that is logged in. I know we don't have a working like actual login, and you saw me log in, but that's just checking against the stuff we have in the database. It's just dummy stuff, dummy data. I can show you real quick. I know this video is getting kind of long, but I think my project's a little complicated. Where is it? Yes, here's the actual database file. So I just want to real quickly show you. Oh yeah, it was doing this. I'm not sure why, and I apologize. I don't know why it's displaying these as white blocks. Oh shoot, I'm sorry. Oh, you can hover over it and see. One of these is 2. Yes, this one. I'm not sure what it is. I think I put it as like chum from like the chum bucket or something. But just trust me, this one, vendor ID 2, I'm only pulling the ones from vendor ID 1, which is what this is, and the associated event. And nowhere in here does it say like chum from the chum bucket or something like that. So I'm not sure why the plugin is displaying these as white blocks. It literally just did that like when I pulled my computer up. So apologies, but so that is the get method. And then the post, this is when you submit something. This data variable loads it from the request data. It creates a new event, adds it to the database, and commits it. And then you have to refresh the page or go back in to see it refresh. Probably should have implemented that. So just to make the user experience a little bit more uh, responsive, but alas. Event filtering, I did not do this. This comment used to be up here. I know it says this is for my project. Owen must have accidentally copied that, but trust me, I did the event creation, not the event filtering. I did not do the listing history. I did not do the favorites. I did not do the vendor login. Oh no, I'm sorry. I did do the event filtering. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did do this. I did not do the listing history or the favorites or the login. Yes, I showed off the event filtering, so sorry. I had a bit of a brain fart there. Yeah, so this is only get requests, but it uses the query method. As you can see, this is how I get them. Args.get is super simple. I really love SQL Alchemy. It's very, very nice. I could definitely see myself using this in the future, or at least recommending it. So yes, and then if depending on which method you're filtering through, it creates it queries the corresponding event, and then um, this is setting up the array of events to be returned. Yeah. So that's pretty much everything about my project. Just to reiterate, I'm querying here for the filter system. I'm doing a join query right here for the loading the vendor specific events associated with the vendor that is logged in. Which is to say, like if Chipotle was logged in, they would want to see Burger King's events. What would be the point? And then, well, this isn't querying, I guess, but it's just adding stuff into the database. So yeah, that is my database project. Actually, I got the slides pulled up. Let me see if I missed anything. No, okay, that was it. So those are my queries. That's my front end. This is my GUI. I know that was like extra credit or whatever. I didn't realize that, but I already had one. So I think it looks pretty nice. Nothing stellar, but yeah, that is my project. So thank you.